Like, comment, and subscribe to J New Orleans.
Hello, this is where we're going to discuss what I mean in previous videos where I mentioned about the world being a system or many systems or a long road trip, the journey of life being a road trip, just those different things. I'm just going to put a face to it today. So, some people spend their entire lives chasing the finish line, the promotion, the house, the relationship, the retirement. But there's a strange factor to it when they finally get there, the finish line moves and suddenly they're chasing again. Others take the opposite path. They look at the future and decide if it's already canceled. So instead of chasing, they drift, scrolling, waiting, distracting. Both groups miss the same thing, the present. Personally, I have seen that my whole life where I will see people who feel like they don't like their current situation and they put their freedom on a raise or moving or dating or friendship. Like it's always this one thing that they need to get started on a goal, or this one thing they need to finally be happy, or I just need to lose 10 pounds and I'll be good. But the reality is that that's not true, because when you put future things on happiness, things that don't exist, things that are external, for happiness is not real. Like any happiness that's outside of you has conditions, can be taken away, has expiration dates, because very few things on this earth last forever, especially from a human aspect. Maybe a tree might last for a few hundred years, but people don't. And also, when it comes to things that are out of our control, when we put things out of our control as a goal or as a finish line for happiness, it's automatic failure. Because using myself for an example, when I was a teenager, I knew that by 25 I was going to be a homeowner, have a family, all of these different magical things based off of dreams, because you dream when you sleep, with no clear path to get there, no clear evidence that it was attainable, because it wasn't goals that no one around me had. And when I actually started aging in my 20s, I saw how much of life is in my control, but I also have to control my habits, my personality, my mindset, and my environment if I want to get there. Probability also comes into play, because if you're someone who wants to be a business owner, but the people you are around blow money, always in drama, like competing with other people. It's just a toxic situation. You got to deal with their attitudes. Maybe you may have attitude. Maybe one of y'all trauma dumps on the other one. All of these different things take away from where you're going, and also it drains you in the moment. So the feeling of whatever is not there, it's easy to think that that's going to change everything because it's not around. So, kind of like when people die, if you was beefing with them, you could pretend like y'all were best friends. Or like when people die, you never realize that that person probably would have betrayed you if they still was alive. Rest in peace to those people though. And the world is basically a game, and it's not a conspiracy, and it's not even a secret society. If you step back from your own life, because when we zoomed in into our own life, we be blinded by so much information. That's why isolation is important, but it's hard for a lot of people to isolate, because if they have abandonment issues, if they are conditioned to cling into other people when they feeling weak versus nursing their own wounds, realizing where they came from, and also thinking of prevention for future wounds of the same nature, they typically are around other people. So it's harder for you to zoom out if you are on the scene. Like if I'm at home, I could zoom out on the map, I could pull up the satellite image. But if I'm on the actual street, like I'm not going to be able to zoom out, especially if I don't have Wi Fi. And businesses make money when you're unhappy, because unhappy people buy more. They buy comfort, they buy distractions, they buy validation. Think about it. If everyone woke up peaceful, half the economy would panic. No more impulse shopping, no more doom scrolling, no more emotional spending. Even stress itself, it's profitable. Medical visits, fast food, alcohol, convenience spending, impulse purchases. The more mentally overwhelmed someone is, the more predictable they become, and predictability is profitable. Also, too, that point is being manipulated through the algorithm. It's not by accident that you can watch a particular set of content consistently, and then when you're doom scrolling, you start getting thrown all kinds of other things, because the test is to see what happens. Like the algorithm for people who are on social media all day. First of all, if you use social media all day, you are not anti-AI. All of that cap y'all say, all of these angry videos, all of these outrage things y'all do, y'all feeding the monster that y'all afraid of. Me personally, I see everything for what it is. It's kind of like when somebody say a woman took their man, the man left on his own. Unless she kidnapped him or took his faculties to where he didn't make a sound decision, he left on his own. When it comes to AI taking jobs, AI is not taking jobs. AI is not sentient to even make decisions. The companies that y'all worship are giving the jobs away and then using the fact that there is currently AI outrage, which is similar to what they did in the 90s with computers. They were up here laying people off and saying that the computer took their job, but a computer has to have a user. So when it comes to people panicking, it's so easy to make people panic, not to mention we literally have been at war for the last 60 years, but for whatever reason, when they feel like it, they highlight certain ones and tell y'all intricate details of it, even though they keep y'all out their business 90% of the time. But for 10% of the time, hey, let's tell y'all what's going on over here. And what it does is it creates panic and fear. Look at what happened during 2020. The toilet paper industry cashed out on everyone, and no one still can understand why people bought that much toilet paper. Because generally in society, it's ran through emotions in America. Like I'm sure it's like that other places, and I get that the first thing people brain think to say is it's like that everywhere, or not everyone's like that, or all of those generic surface level responses to deep topics that if we go deep we could actually find a solution, but most people brains are surface level, so literally they're just trying to put it in a box because surface level people put everything in boxes. That's why when a person has a complex personality, surface level people either love them to due to the mystery, or they see them as a threat because surface level people put everyone in boxes. So if they see you happy 5 days in a row, they automatically think you're a happy person. So if that person cut you off in traffic and make you go in a ditch, and if you catch that person outside, they're going to be shocked to say, oh my god, I can't believe you had that in you, because their boxes didn't have that connected. But back to the stress itself, that's why I'm always encouraging people to have emotional regulation, to build emotional intelligence, because when you realize how powerful your emotions are, you will stop giving that power away to other people. Like emotions is one of the most dangerous things we have, because if it's done right and we're manipulated enough, we can be made to do anything. It's happening online right now. Like it's so many people who were raised in kind homes and religious homes and homes with morals, but with being on social media so much and seeing all of these different things, these different crimes happening to people, and depending on what you watch, your algorithm is tailored to show you more of those types of things. People are slowly stepping away from their morals to the point to where I'm seeing people who had praying mothers and who used to sing at church praising when people pass online, like when people die, and especially innocent people, if it's because if they're a part of a certain group or if they look a certain way, they don't realize that that's barbaric behavior, but it's coming in so subtle and you have so many people mimicking it that you're a part of the you've become one of the sheep, one of the townspeople. Like we talk about the Salem witch trials, y'all are living in the modern day version of it. Every time there is something to be found. Everyone becomes Sherlock Holmes and also Mr. Gadget, like just pointing a finger at anybody that shows any sign of anything. And in the midst of that, you're making all of these billionaires and trillionaires that y'all so afraid of rich because y'all stay on their websites all day. So y'all getting them millions of dollars in ad revenue. Not to mention you're being force fed all types of content that is subliminally pushing you towards spending money. Or the fact that food is destroying most people because people don't admit to having food addictions, like people don't admit to having cell phone addictions, because in some people mind, addiction is only at the crack house. If it's not you strung out or I got the bike holiday, they feel like it's not an addiction. But it's a lot of addictions that people have, and it's taking over them, because if you can't admit that's an addiction, it definitely is taking over. It's one thing if you know and you working on it. Working on it is better than not acknowledging it at all. So, and also the predictability of being emotional. Like emotional, like do y'all not see in person, for people who are easily triggered, you don't see that smirk on the person's face who triggered you, because it be there. Maybe I'm just observant and I don't have a phone in my face so I can see the world. I don't know. No shade, but I mean all shade, all disrespect too, because y'all are grown. A lot of y'all are able to always point the finger at what other people need to do. Meanwhile, y'all life is in shambles. And unfortunately, history, I'm just going by history, majority of society has failed in societies. Like people, this happiness y'all chase, you never gonna get it in the material world. The people that you see have happiness always have less than what you looking for. And that's something that is unable to be understood. People refuse to believe that it's true. That is why as soon as y'all find a person that's seemingly wealthy and seemingly happy, y'all immediately put them on a pedestal and say, hey, they broke the mold. Look at them. Money bought their happiness. Only for weeks and months later for you to see that that was just a show. It was a persona for the world, because personas are made for us to navigate society. Some people may take personas too far and it not even be anywhere near who they really are in real life. But y'all are seeing personas. That is why when y'all find out about people and CEOs and all of these different things, it's shocking, because you thought their persona was their personality and it's not. Pretty much a lot of the people you see online, everything that you see was curated for you to see it that way from that angle. And it's not necessarily meaning that these people went to acting school to decide to scam people. It just so happened that society, and especially the fact that a lot of people are quietly suffering from arrested development and still have childish like thinking patterns, they play on the imaginary part of your mind, that dreaming, that oh, I have a dream of this and all of this other stuff. That is childish. Like, and that's the reality of it. I don't mind people doing it, again, because I'm gonna always repeat this, because I know that there are slow people out there and I love y'all. I just hope that you speed up. Is that when it comes to the future, if you don't have anything in the present connecting you to that future, like if you think that you're going to get a job in Los Angeles, if you don't have anything pushing you towards Los Angeles, there is literally no way it's going to happen. Or like when it comes to these dreams of a cookie cutter person coming into your life, have you looked at society and realized that some of these different people y'all have in y'all mind, they do not exist? Or if they do exist, they won't present themselves in the way that you think they will. And the brain on chasing mode, this is where it gets serious. This isn't just philosophy, it's biological. When people constantly chase, the brain stays in dopamine pursuit mode. This creates stress, anxiety, burnout, reduced emotional regulation, poor decision making. According to research from Harvard Medical School, chronic stress increases cortisol levels, which can shrink the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is where you make sound decisions. That's the part that makes you apologize to people when your emotional part did too much. That's the part that makes you feel regret when you rage quit a job that you worked hard to get at. That's the part that makes you regret when you weren't thinking about posting social media videos at a job that has a social media policy that you signed and dated on the contract line. Like, and also it reduces memory when it shrinks. It increases impulsiveness, increases anxiety and depression. So many people are anxious and depressed. Another study from Stanford found people in chronic stress mode make worse long term financial decisions, which means, ironically, chasing money often makes people worse at managing money. We see it all the time, people. Like, instead of looking at what you see online and wanting to rush to the comment section to repeat a talking point that's been repeated 1,000 times, look at the lessons. Compare yourself. That's what comparison is supposed to come into play. Do I do this? But with honesty and in privacy. That's why growth is only able to happen in privacy, because when you're around people, they will mess up your growth. If you have someone who always tearing you down, if you try to do growth in front of them, you're going to skip important details because you're not going to want to hear their mouth saying the negative things about the weaknesses you know are there, or you don't want to hear the aha, I've been told you about this. That's why alone time is important. But with this chasing mindset and this dopamine filled world, it's so easy to pick up your phone and start scrolling. I've even tested it out myself with scrolling on YouTube and seeing how the algorithm is spoon feeding content to where it knows what I want to watch, but it'll put it between 6 and 7 videos. But if I go to my subscriptions, everything's together. But if I'm trying to look at it from the homepage, it's making me work for it, which ends up making it a process of repeat, like watch a video, repeat, watch a video, repeat. And it's a lot of subtle things that does that to us, but it's harder to reach people about it because first of all, you got to let people do what they're going to do. Secondly, people have free will, so regardless of how we feel about what people do, they're going to do it anyway. Now, when it comes to illegal things, that's a whole different story. Use your thinking caps, people. But in general things, general normal behaviors are seemingly normal behaviors. The quiet trap of materialism. Materialism is subtle because it's not evil. Money is useful, comfort is useful, but when identity becomes tied to possession, people become fragile because possessions can disappear, and when they do, so does identity. Studies in psychology show highly materialistic individuals report lower life satisfaction, higher anxiety, higher depression rates, less meaningful relationships, because when everything becomes transactional, even happiness becomes a purchase. And it's not true happiness. When I've mentioned previously about upbringings, where I grew up at economically was a graveyard. Like no money was coming in, no substantial money as far as income. Now, people probably had underreported income. Some people were street pharmacists and different things like that. But one thing I noticed is that none of those people were happy. They often were in competition with other people who were living the hood rich lifestyle. As the years go on, like I'm 35 now, most of those people are in debt now, if not dead. Like they're in debt or dead or went to jail for something because the money wasn't enough. Or even for my true crime people, if y'all watch true crime where people were farmer scammers, y'all don't notice that everyone does the same thing. They go and buy luxury and buy different things. But what confuses me is that luxury is more prevalent in low income areas. Like you see more designer and high end things in those areas, but those same people with their emotional selves are quick to cancel and swear that they don't like this person or don't like that person. But if y'all did y'all research, the companies y'all shop with fund the people that y'all don't like. The president that y'all hate, y'all luxury people funded that man. Like y'all literally buying the world that y'all hate the people that the money, like y'all don't even look up the CEOs of these places and see what other companies they own. Or many of y'all don't even realize that over the last few years, media has been monopolized by very few companies that own most of the media. So a lot of y'all stuff is controlled. And all of these angry outbursts is really fear because y'all know that y'all don't know what's going on. But rather than be enlightened, y'all brains is protecting y'all because if y'all were to absorb the reality of the world that y'all live in, and also for a lot of the luxurious people to realize the fires you were fueling, little Mr. and little Mrs. Luxury, like y'all actually support like the places y'all tell people to boycott, or like how people get into it over petty stuff like what rapper did this, what rapper did that. First of all, these people don't even know y'all. Y'all acting like the people in the medieval times who used to have street fights over disrespecting the king and dishonoring the king. Meanwhile, the king don't care about none of y'all. When a famine come, he's saying cut the food to the bottom feeders first because they the most disposable ones. Y'all are disposable to these people, and not to mention not cultivating healthy relationships. Because it's one thing if you are a person who is introverted, you don't mind solitude, but a lot of you people are lonely, thirsty, and y'all don't even build healthy relationships or even understand that some of these long term relationships y'all in have conditioned you to the abuse that the world is giving you. If you have people who are constantly making you feel less than, or you constantly feeling your nervous system detecting a threat from a quote unquote friend, long term, that's conditioning you to not listen to your nervous system when you're in the wild and you come across a threat. And the philosophical reality, philosophers have warned about this for thousands of years. The Stoics, the people that y'all misrepresent due to the red pill people, automatically putting Stoics and Machiavellianism and 48 laws of power as these evil things, when it's literally telling you with the people that y'all fear so much or hate so much, whichever fear and hate, is using against you. If y'all literally just read psychology or philosophy, you would see all of the subtle cues that's being used against you. You don't have to use it at all. You don't even have to do it. Oh, I don't want to be a manipulator. I don't want to do all these things. Well, you're being manipulated, baby. So the choice is to either accept the life that y'all have right now and realize that you played a big part in what it is. Unless you are in confinement, unless you grew up in a basement and never got let out, or an attic, or torture poets department, literally we all have responsibility for where we are now. And this happiness stuff, you never gonna find it. Like, y'all gotta look at everybody around y'all chasing the same thing. Y'all notice none of y'all never find it, and then when they have the person that seemingly finds it, it's only so much time before the mask is pulled off, before that relationship ends with a nasty breakup, before that friend exposes them on the group trip, before the family member, shout out to Glorilla, pulls one of them moves. This happiness, unless you find inner happiness, all of this outside stuff is going to keep costing you money, keep costing you confusion. You're never going to feel like you belong somewhere because a lot of y'all are introverts trying to force yourself to be extroverted and wondering why you have to use substances to socialize, wondering why your hangovers last for 3 and 4 days when really it's not even a physical hangover, it's a mental drain. Because y'all are living lives that's not meant for y'all, trying to fit in around people who are not built for y'all. If anything, some of y'all should be leading the pack. But since we have this mindset of no one's better than anyone else, that doesn't mean you're better than anyone if you're leading them. You just may be more prepared. You may be more aware. You may have more insight on whatever journey y'all are on. Because back to history, history has always shown that a huge part of society ends up being followers. And if we look at our people we know are followers, or if we're a follower, it's not born. We're not born into that. We're taught it. We're like, it's developed by the environments we're in. And it's enforced by the environments we're in because it allowed it, whatever we do that keeps us alive, we tend to keep doing it. That's why you see people who may be living a bare minimum life, but their brain is like, okay, this works, so just keep doing it. And if you constantly chase external things, you give control of your happiness to the world. Philosophy says suffering comes from attachment. Modern psychology says happiness comes from meaning, not possessions. Different philosophies, same message. You don't need to escape the world. You just not stop need to stop letting it control you. Not to mention, it's so unfair to a lot of y'all because a lot of y'all are really just y'all may make mistakes and have flaws and stuff like that, but overall, y'all pretty decent people. So you assume your decency is going to be reflected to you when it comes to navigating the world, especially when it comes to content. And I can tell y'all from firsthand experience, that is why I kind of took a step back. I deleted social media, personally, social media, and I really rarely use YouTube now, and I'm using it less and less because the amount of misinformation that is fed to y'all. Oh my gosh! And then it be from pages with lots of followers, so the average person today will just assume it's facts because they didn't get sued yet, it didn't get taken down. But it's so many lies on the internet, people. Like the internet has y'all feeling like Armageddon is tomorrow. But for the last few weeks, the weather has been very beautiful in New Orleans. And going out in public, yes, they do have people on the road who should be chained under the jail and never allowed to drive a vehicle. But nevertheless, it doesn't feel the way that y'all think the world feels online. And I'm thinking that that's like by design, maybe. I don't know. I mean, kind of do, but the hidden advantage. Here's the good news. This generation has something no other generation had. Information, free, unlimited. Yes, you have the whole world on that phone that you doom scroll. Like literally, I test the power regularly. I'll think of something that I have no idea of how to do and then search for a way to do it. And within 5 minutes, I know how to do it. And it's still a mind fuck to me now to realize someone who used to have to go to the library for everything in the 90s. Shout out to the Arthur book series. I used to love going to the library and read the Arthur books. Hey, hey, what a wonderful kind of day where you could learn to work and play and get along with each other. Y'all should have listened to that song. Anyways, you can learn financial literacy, emotional intelligence, therapy techniques, health improvement skills, career skills. In many cases, for free, you can literally Google how to stop anxiety, how to improve discipline, how to build better habits, and learn from experts within minutes. This is one of the most powerful advantages in human history, and it's often taken for granted. I can't tell you how many times chronically online people will ask other people, "Do it? Who hiring? How do I find this? How do I do this?" And I honestly think that either they want sympathy from other people and that's why they involve other people in it, or the arrested development is kicking in. And it's like when you're a child and you immediately go to the nearest adult and ask them a question because that's the right thing to do. Some adults become adults and don't realize they're the adult. Like you're the end all be all. Like for me, when I'm dealing with mechanical or any type of, surprises in life, there's nobody to call because I'm the person to fix it. But I mean, for me, that's why I became so mechanically inclined because I realized early on that no one was coming to save me, and that's why I think childhood can also impact us differently. Some people can live in the same house and see things differently based off of the same experience. And not to mention, there is so much information and news articles that you can look around the world to see how much of the information you're given that's incorrect. Next is small habits, big control. The world feels overwhelming because people try to control everything, but control starts small. You can start by making your bed. That's always good for people if you're feeling down or anything like that. I noticed too though, I don't know, I may be wrong because I don't see too many clean houses, but everyone I know who's depressed, their house be dirty. Now, which one came first, the chicken or the egg? That's between them and Key Glock. And drinking water, getting sunlight, taking a walk, limiting caffeine, actually decentering caffeine. Caffeine is killing y'all. I don't know if y'all know this. Caffeine is literally, like, really seriously killing y'all because number one, 400 milligrams is the daily limit. Baby, people are averaging 1,200 milligrams. Y'all going three times the daily limit. People are having heart attacks. People are getting all types of heart conditions for caffeine because caffeine is an addictive substance, just like nicotine. Like it's funny how certain things is separated, like nicotine, THC, all of the hard stuff. Shout out to Dwight Howard, and all of that. It's like those things are sectioned off, but a lot of our everyday things have the same impact. It's just not seen as such because it's commonly used. Because that's how humans are. If I do something, it's not wrong. So if I smoke green, I'm not gonna judge green smokers. But if I wasn't a green smoker, I'm gonna call them, weed heads. Like that's how people are. And honestly, I think that we have to learn as a society. A lot of these thoughts we're hearing are intrusive thoughts. They don't mean anything. Like people's opinions on dating, relationship, friendships, it should stop being days and hours worth of arguing because this is in somebody's head. Look at their reality and go off of that. A lot of people be telling y'all stuff that they not even living. Like people will tell you they won't accept their gay child. Meanwhile, they eating cat or sucking dick. Like, come on, man. Like these y'all the amount of cap that people fall for these days, I really wish I could just give all of the people with good hygiene a hug and tell them it's gonna be okay. Because that's why a lot of people end up stepping back from society and we'll exist parallel to society, but we never immerse ourselves too deep because y'all, oh, and I hate to keep saying y'all, maybe the listener is not even a y'all, but I feel like Tyra Banks when she yelled at the girl. My mother yelled at people when she cared about them or whatever she said. That's how I feel. But it's like knowing all of these things and seeing people who may or may not know these things, but then they get the consequences of these things, like overuse of caffeine, and the shock is as if they never knew. Even though the cans said, all of the cans, they legally have to warn you that, hey, this shit could kill you right now, mofo. But looking at the comment section on many videos of YouTube, I can see that maybe people don't even know what the can is saying because literacy is down, and it would be cool if literacy was down and we didn't see it. But the illiterate people insert themselves everywhere and even have the nerve to write long, long bits of literature filled with misspelled words, no punctuation, commas that literally could have changed the meaning of many things, but without the comma, it was read as something else. And then when you kindly tell these people, let the autocorrect do its job, stop fighting autocorrect. Because I know it was nothing but red lines under them paragraphs. They get mad at you because they're always mad though. They're not mad at you. That actually is baggaged anger that probably is from something completely unrelated. But since they continue to carry it, it comes out every chance they get because it's so heavy and they haven't realized that yet. And when you make small changes, your belief in control tells your brain I can influence my life. And once that belief grows, so does confidence. So like with the bed making thing, you making your bed up or you cleaning your kitchen counter at night or you wiping the counters down, when you wake up the next day and see that, or with the bed making, when you come back from whatever you was doing and see that, that shows you that you have control of your life because now you starting with your room, and then depending on your living arrangements you'll go to another room, or you'll go to your car, you just keep things organized, and you'll also notice how easy it is when things are organized, when your clothes are folded or put away and sectioned off. When it's time to get dressed, you already know, or if it's time to pick out an outfit, you already know that okay, this was going to be my next outfit when I go out again. And if you find yourself being one of those people that it's hard to keep up with your personal environments, review and make sure you're not hoarding, because hoarding is way more common than we really realize. And it doesn't always look like those videos from those reality shows where the whole house is filled with boxes and stuff and you falling over. Sometimes hoarding can look cute. It can be those multiple shelves with unnecessary books or unnecessary collectible items that have no value. Like, just different things. But All of this is just giving suggestions and trying not to rant, even though I still end up doing it, but I'm still also keeping the structure going. No shame, only solutions. Here's something important: discovering the bad habits. It's not failure, it's awareness, and awareness is power. Instead of shame, use curiosity. I always say this. If you drink too much caffeine, replace 1 cup with water. If you scroll too much, replace 10 minutes with learning. If you procrastinate, start with 5 minutes. Small solutions, big momentum. What I will say from personal experience, as far as the procrastination thing, I think that some people may be waiting for motivation to come around. Like my procrastination experience during my procrastination era was, if I'm laying down right now and I want to start reading a book or start studying, I will either set an alarm for 30 minutes and tell myself I'm gonna close my eyes for 30 minutes, and when that alarm go off, I'm gonna shoot up like a rocket. Came in like a wrecking ball. Or I will say, after I eat, I'm gonna do this. Or like I will always put something in front of me starting something, thinking that once I did whatever that was, since I told myself that's what was gonna happen, that would happen. And that's not true. Sometimes, especially if your procrastination strong, baby, your procrastination gonna give you buku things to like put in the way of you starting. So what I realize is that real willpower is not real. Like I've even went into editor mode with my own procrastination to where I would be laying down and then I would just get up and start like a deep task. And I realized as long as I wasn't thinking about it, it was easy to do. It's like sometimes we can think ourselves out of acting. And maybe that may be something that overthinkers experience, or underthinkers, or people with overbites, underbites, side boobs, side parts, double chins, and the humor in it all. It's funny when you think about it. People buy planners to schedule time to manage stress, created by overscheduling. We drink caffeine to stay awake because we're exhausted from staying awake. We buy expensive mattresses because can't sleep due to stress from chasing money. The irony is everywhere. Leaving the game, leaving without leaving life, without quiet quitting. Leaving the game doesn't mean quitting life. It means playing differently, being present, improving gradually, choosing awareness. Small steps, big control. The world may try to pull you in, but it's not impossible to step back, because control doesn't come from changing everything. It comes from changing small things, handled properly over time. And when that happens, you stop chasing the finish line because you realize you're already living. You really are already living. And also too, what I will say is open your mind. Like if you really want a life different in a better way than what you have now, you don't you really have to start with yourself first. I know that that's the hardest part for most people. That's why it's so easy to go crazy on the external world, to get 5 jobs, to make 7 social media profiles, to walk 30,000 steps a day, to eat 1 calorie a day to lose weight, to, do all of these drastic things. But you missing the bigger picture if you don't realize what your purpose is, why you're doing these things, what truly makes you happy. Because you may be like me in my 20s. I was luxury down in my 20s, even though I didn't like luxury. But that was me just being cookie cutter, like doing with society, because I was such a compliant student in school. I just was compliant to life. Like, oh, I'm in a friend group. The friend group is luxurious. I'm going to be luxurious. I'm in a friend group and they like to eat at restaurants, but they don't have money. Guess what? I have a car and money. I'm going to feed everyone. I have a family that's full of bums and mentally ill people who don't take accountability. You know what? I'm going to start displaying my traits of mental illness so I can fit in with these bastards. It's kind of like the wanting and belonging thing. And once you notice your nature and why you do things, that's why it is so important to know why you do things. Why do you do what you do? Because that's how you are able to change the things that you don't like doing. and you can make the connections. But be very careful when you're doing this. You may see connections or causes by other people. Do not let them become the villain in your story. As far as, oh, this is because of my mother, that is because of my mother, and you don't change the things. Like how so many people didn't like the way they were raised, only to have children and be 10 times worse. Like your mother starved y'all, and you put your children out in the cold when they don't get the answer right. Like it's just, please don't become the monster that you so badly are harmed by, because that's what typically happens with some people when you get into the blame mode. As long as you have a big bad, like how as long as the devil is around, nobody else can be as evil as the devil, because the devil is supposed to be the ultimate evil. But what ends up happening is, like the Christian psychosis people who call everything demonic, their whole house be a hell's lair. Fornication, wedlock, coveting thy neighbor, lying, stealing, envy, jealousy, greed, all of these things. But since we have that one big bad, we can't see our own. So make sure when you're leveling yourself up, yes, make the connection of the influences, but you also have to take the ultimate accountability to stop whatever it is. That's why shame must be removed, because once shame comes into play, is shame is like self grieving. Like how when we grieve over people we love, that grief is so heavy. And that's why if it's fresh, we try to avoid talking about it, or we stay alone so we can have enough time to just cry in those outbursts that you have when you're grieving. Shame is you grieving yourself. But when you grieve yourself, you're still alive. So it never stops. Shame is never ending. That is why people have carried shame for years. You see it all the time when people tell stories that were secrets and how free they are. Shame is really heavy. It's like a chain, really. And random rant is that it's funny how slavery was changed and people go broke to buy iced out chains. So chains are still keeping people in bondage. Anyways, y'all have a great day. That was it. This video was kind of different for me. Anyways.
Like, comment, and subscribe to J New Orleans.